Hello everyone, welcome to another little book talk thing. And by talk I don't mean like TikTok book version, I mean like TALK talk. A book talk. Anyways, this month I read 6 books, I think. Started out pretty strong for the most part. So to start with, I read this book, The Crimson Moth, which was very good. It's the first book in a series. It's called the Crimson Moth series. I believe I have like a special edition of this because my for like a year my partner um did one of those book boxes, the Fairy Loot Crate one. It's really good. But I have like a ton of fantasy books that I need to read. This was on it, and they're all like very pretty versions of the books, right? So they're like hardcover. They all have like art on the inside covers, and most of them have sprayed edges, all that kind of stuff. So my copy is literally this. It just says The Crimson Moth. Um, if you look for this in like paperback or even the regular version, it might say Heartless Hunter because that is what the first book is called in the Crimson Moth series. Anyways, this book was really good. It is a fantasy romance book, enemies to lovers, that whole thing. It's about this girl who is a witch, but in a world where being a witch can get you killed. I won't get too far into it, but she basically has this persona where that's called the Crimson Moth who saves witches. Um, but she has to pretend to be someone else, like in the world. She's also very rich, so she can do that. And there's this guy who is like the leader. I don't want to say he's the general because he's not the general. I forget what his title is. I read this in the very beginning of February, so I don't. This is the February, what I read in February, by the way. My god, there's chaos outside my window. Anyways, wow, lots of honking. Um, he's like the lead guy that captures witches, basically. He's like the witch hunter. And she's best friends with his brother. But anyways, it's very cat and mouse. There's a lot of like will they won't they because they both kind of need to romance each other to use each other to meet their ends, to make their goals and stuff. It's really good. The magic system is really interesting. I love the romance. Like, oh my god, it's so good. It's a little predictable with some things, but like there are a couple little twists and turns and I'm like, "Oh my god, I love this. I love all of the characters. I am so excited to read the next book." Um so yeah, I do recommend this one. It's not perfect. On Fable, I have a Fable. Maybe I should link my Fable below. Can I do that? I don't know if because I don't have a lot of followers on this page, on this account. I don't know if it will let me put links in there. But anyways, on Fable, I gave it a 4.25 out of 5 stars. It was really good. It was a really fun read. I'm pretty sure it's YA, so like very easy to read. It was great. I love the magic system. I love the characters. I love the story. I'm excited to see what happens next. It's very cool. I dig this book. After that, I read episode 13, which was such a huge disappointment to me. This book was recommended to me, but because I like ghost stories, I gave this a 2.5 stars. It's written okay. It's basically a found footage, right? So, what's that one ghost hunter show that everyone loves, and it's got that one guy in it? You know who I'm talking about. His name is like Zach Baggins. Is that what his name is? I used to watch it. I don't watch it anymore. I haven't watched it in years. Like paranormal investigators and that kind of stuff. So it is another paranormal investigative team who goes to this one location that's never been investigated because no one has ever been allowed on the property until now. Um and it's supposedly like the most haunted site in America. And so this team gets the opportunity to go there and investigate. And it was very disappointing for me. There are some, I'm trying to talk about it without spoiling it. There are some kind of cool parts that happen in it, but like there's not a lot of actual haunting that's happening in this. I mean, there is something supernatural happening, but like it's not your typical ghost story. So I guess if you really like found footage, because it's written in a found footage sort of way. It's written basically like a script, like a movie script. Because it's it's like someone has documented this episode 13 of this investigative uh TV series, paranormal TV series, whatever. It's the 13th episode that they're recording. And so someone compiled all of the evidence, or at least a lot of the evidence, into one thing, and that's what we're reading. So instead of seeing it like a documentary, we're reading it. So when there's moments that are happening on camera, it's written like a script. It says like character A moves over there and does this thing. So and so is talking, right? So character A, blah 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 blah. Character B, blah 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 blah. Character A, blah 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 blah. Like it's written like that a lot of the times. There are a couple of articles that are in there, like little teeny articles that people write about this team or episode 13. There are some like website excerpts from the team's website. There are their journal entries, etc. So it's kind of written like that. It's a little mixed media, which is interesting. I thought that was very interesting and cool. It doesn't, like, it takes forever for anything to happen, though. A lot of the first half of this book, it's a 300-page book, 300 and something page book. And for, like, nothing happens until, like, page 150. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, nothing's really happening for a lot of that. It's going into mostly, like, what goes into creating the show and the characters that you need for it. And like they've hired an actress to be part of the show to make it more interesting for viewers. And like it goes into the characters' backstories and their histories and blah, 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 which is fine. But it's basically 150 pages of world building until something happens. And sometimes there will be like a little tiny blip of something scary that happens, and then it will be like 50 pages of basically nothing happening. And then there will be a teeny tiny little blip of something scary happening, and then 50 pages of nothing. And then at the end, it's like the last 50 pages are like, ooh, spooky, scary, supposedly. But to me, I don't know if it's just because I'm very seasoned when it comes to horror that to me this didn't do anything for me. Also, I freaking love ghost stories, so this was incredibly disappointing because I like a classic ghost story. I don't mind if the classic ghost story gets turned on its head or something like that, because that's also very interesting, but there were, like, no bumps in the night in this. There was no lead up to any of the spooky moments. They were just kind of, like, doing their thing, waiting for something to happen, and nothing was happening for a really long time, and then when they least expected, oh my god, there's a ghost, maybe. And then nothing happens again for, like, ever. And they're all just talking about the one incident that happened, but nothing else is happening. And then they go to try to get something else to happen, and nothing happens. And then suddenly something happens, oh no! You know what I mean? But then there's a lot of dilly-dallying and doing nothing that, like, there's a lot of nothing happening in this book, which was very disappointing to me, because I was like, where's the creepiness? Where's the spookiness? Where's the buildup? Where's the atmosphere? Like, I'm not getting any spooky, scary things, and then something will be like, boo! Kind of like jump scare-wise, and I'm just like, that was it? That's what it is? That's it? Also, like, yeah, it's supernatural, but it's also very science-y, because there is a scientist in the group, I should say, who, like, debunks everything, which is an interesting twist on the paranormal investigator, that's a hard word for me right now, thing. But she gets very sciencey, so there's a lot of science talk in here too, and like pseudoscience and that kind of stuff. So anyways, I wouldn't recommend this book. I'm going to try more Craig DeLuise stuff because I've heard he's really good, but my first book with him was very disappointing. So I think I potentially also just had really great expectations for this book because I was like, ghost story, someone recommended it, I'm in, I'm down, let's go. Very disappointing. Anyways, and then I read You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, which is, I'm pretty sure this is a YA also. It was good. It was, you know, this one actually did have some twists, some things where I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. I mean, I kind of was expecting that, but then they like really made me rethink what I was thinking. And then I thought it was going to be something else, and it ends up being both of those things, actually. And so, like, that was the twist where I was like, oh, I was right the first time, but then I thought that I was wrong, but I was actually right. And I'm right about this other thing, too, that was, oh, cool. So anyways, this one, there is a girl who works at this summer camp where basically like a Friday the 13th-esque horror movie was filmed. And the guy who owns the land that the camp sits on wants to, or he did, he made it into like an amusement thing. I don't want to call it an amusement park, but basically it's a fear simulator, right? They're simulating the movie. They do change some things to keep it like exciting for the guests, but basically the guests get a reservation to be scared, and it starts at like 8 p.m. or something like that. And then the people who work at the camp either play the killer from the movie, or they play victims, or they just orchestrate the stuff in the background, like making the fake blood, doing spooky sounds. Oh no. They have like props and stuff. So like that's a really interesting concept. But then of course, people do start dying. So very interesting. It kind of, at first it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be like, but I was satisfied with it. It was very good. I wouldn't say it was like super duper amazing. When I say very good, I mean like it was entertaining. I was entertained by it, you know, and there was never any moments where I was like bored in this, or where I was like, well, that's dumb. Um so yeah, I really liked it. I loved how it ended. It was very surprising the way that it ended. That was a little bit of a twist for me. I was like, "Oh, okay." Wasn't expecting that, but that's cool. So, I did really enjoy this book. I gave it like a 3 out of 5 stars though. It's very middle of the road. Like it's very medium, but it was still fun and enjoyable. So if you're looking for like a fun spooky slasher with a couple of little twists in there, this one's for you. It's really good. Um, yeah, it's great. Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. I've tried to read Stephen Graham Jones before. Well, I didn't even finish it. I DNF'd him. DNF, in case you don't know, is did not finish. So I DNF'd him. I tried reading My Heart is a Chainsaw, and I got bored out of my mind reading it. Like, it's supposed to be a horror book, and I was just like, I'm so bored. I listened to that audiobook for like 5 hours, and I was like, this book is huge though. It's like a 12-hour read or something, and I was like, nothing is happening and I'm bored. This was the opposite of that for me. This is just a short story called Night of the Mannequins. It's not, based on the title, it's not quite what you think, but it is still very exciting and fun. So potentially there's a mannequin killing people. Maybe it's just a guy that's going crazy though. Who knows? Um, it was very interesting. It was a very interesting look into the psychology of someone. I'll say that. So there was a lot of, I don't know, man. It's kind of like a character study in a way too. Like these friends, it's during the summer, I think, and these friends are all hanging out and they play a prank on their friend who's working in the movie theater, where they bring a mannequin named Manny into the theater to try to like scare her or be like ha 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 ha, whatever. But then the mannequin gets up and walks away, and then terror ensues afterwards. But it's potentially not quite what you think. And when I got it, I was like, oh, that's what's happening. This is gonna be interesting. So it was very short, it was very interesting. I really enjoyed this one so much more. And I gave this one like a 3.75 because I enjoyed it more than You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight. And I thought it was better written, but I mean, obviously there's different writing styles and stuff, but this is also a very short story. Probably like, I don't know, 150 pages. I don't know the page count because I just listened to this one. This one was audiobook, but it was really good. It was really good. Really enjoyed it. I do think there could have been some things that were done better, but for what it was done very well. So I did actually enjoy this one. I would recommend this one. This one's good. A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. I've been wanting to read more T. Kingfisher. I read, was it The Twisted Ones? There's like 2 of her books that I always get confused. One of them I've read and the other one I haven't. I want to say it's The Twisted Ones I read. That one was pretty good. This one, A House with Good Bones, is about this woman who comes back home to stay with her mom, but everything is kind of off. Like, her mom used to, like, colorful things in her house. Like all of the walls were painted like turquoise and green and yellow, like really bright, vibrant colors. And now they're all like plain white or like very muted tones and colors. There's paintings that she loved that used to be, or like pieces of art that used to be on the wall, and now there's like the gross, racist picture of some Confederate dude on the wall that belonged to her grandmother, the main girl's grandmother. So everything basically, they're living in the grandma's house, but the grandma is dead. The mom inherited the grandmother's house. The grandma is not super cool. She's super not cool. She was very mean. She's probably very racist. They didn't really get like too actually racist in the book, which was great, but they very much insinuated that it was that way. You know what I mean? They very much did the tell don't show part for that a little more, which I appreciate. But yeah, the grandma's not cool. The mom was very cool, right? So grandma, basically in today's time, she'd be like MAGA, right? She'd be aligned with the right, the far right, probably. Mother, probably much more liberal, left-wing kind of stance. Daughter, also left-wing, liberal kind of stance. So just to, because that is kind of important to how they all interact with each other. But now the mom suddenly has changed. She's like a little more nervous and quiet, and she dresses more in line with how her grandmother, the mother's mother, wanted her to dress, and the house looks more like how the grandmother's house was while the grandmother was still alive. They have a beautiful rose garden. There's a bunch of stuff about roses. There's something weird happening, basically, with her mom, and she's trying to get to the bottom of it. And they do, quite literally. It's really funny. Really good book. I really enjoyed this. I really love the main character. She is a, God, I don't remember what it's called right now. She's an entomologist, studies bugs, but specifically dead bugs. And there's like a really long word for it. And I don't remember if it's like an gosh. I'm blanking on the second word. It starts with an A. Anyways, she goes to like dig sites and digs up bugs and studies dead bugs and that kind of stuff. So she's very into bugs. So there's a lot of bugs in this book too. The information about bugs was also very interesting. And I'm like, I just like how this main character functions, how her brain works. I really enjoy her as the main character. And I really like her mom too. I mean, her mom is really cool. It's just that something is happening that's making her act weird. And you discover what that is later on. There is something strange happening. There's also a neighbor that lives like down the street on the corner who has vultures. That's why there's a vulture on the in the shadow on the cover. She takes care of the vultures and stuff, and she's a witch, and it's really fun. It's really cool. I really enjoyed this book. It's very short also. It's like 200 pages, 230 pages, something like that. So another shortish book, but really entertaining, really enjoyable. I gave this one a 4 stars. And then, last book I read was Night World. Am I actually going through this way faster than I thought? Maybe, yeah. I'm trying not to spoil anything. Anyways, Night World, book 1. This is the exact cover that I have. I just found this in a bookstore, in my local bookstore. If you try to find Night World covers, they will look way more like YA covers, because it is. It's a YA book again. Previously titled Secret Vampire. So yeah, these are like the cover that I have. I just found it because it's cloth bound, and I was like, oh, I need that book. Vampires, cloth bound, short, love it, give it to me. And I've had this book for a while now, but I just haven't read it. So I finally did. Because again, I think this month was the month of like mostly short books, because the first 2 books were pretty long. They were like more than 300 pages, almost hitting 400. All the rest of them were like 100 to 200 pages, 230, something like that. So like smallish books. Anyways, in this one, this girl gets a death sentence, the main character. They're all teenagers. She gets a death sentence, basically. She's going to be dying soon. And her best friend, who she's also secretly in love with, offers her a chance at immortality, right? Because he's a vampire. Dun dun dun. She had no idea. And so he's like, I can save you, but you're going to turn into a vampire. And like, there's a lot of the process of becoming a vampire that's really cool. There's a really interesting, I thought it was very cool, the relationship dynamic between the girl's brother and the vampire guy. and how that evolves, I thought it was very cool. So, anyways, this book was really good. And it's actually, this is also a series of 9 books. And I was like, whoa, okay, why did I accidentally read a bunch of series? You know? Anyways, I'm intrigued to read more because apparently all of the 9 books, it's more like a world kind of series rather than a following a character series. Because some book series, right, you follow one character or 2 characters and you follow them through multiple books. This one is more about the world that they live in. So this one was about this vampire guy specifically and the girl that he also loves and saves. Maybe. We'll find out. Anyways, and there's some other characters that are like introduced in this book that don't have too much to do with anything, but they're introduced. And those characters are the main characters for like different books in the series. So he talks to like this one, well, there's like 3 different witches that are mentioned. 2 of them are in one book. One of them is in another book as like main characters. There's also some werewolves that are mentioned that are the main characters of another book, but they're all basically like fantasy romance type books, YA fantasy romance, that take place in this particular world that is called Night World. It was very interesting. This one was so cool. It was so enjoyable. This is part of the reason why I like YA still. It's just so quick and easy to read. It makes me feel smart. I don't mind challenging myself with harder books. Like I'm going to start reading Daphne? Rebecca. Why was I? It's because the freaking author's name is Daphne. I'm gonna start reading Rebecca, which I tried to start reading and I was like, I can't do this right now. It really depends on my brain too. Some days I'm cool with reading harder stuff, and other days I'm like, I just want something simple and light and fun that I could just like breeze through. You know what I mean? It is time to start challenging my brain now that I've read a lot of books, though. Because if you didn't know, I'm doing this because I used to read a lot. Like, I used to read so much, and I was an English major. I almost got my degree, but I dropped out of school because school is stupid. School, getting an education is good. School, however, the school system, the way everything functions, fucking dumb. So anyways, I dropped out of school, so I didn't get my degree, but that's fine, whatever. Point is, I used to read a lot, but because of the way that the world was and how often I was working, I was just too exhausted and I stopped reading for a long time. And so this is me trying to get back into reading, and I am, but I'm starting slow with lighter reads, stuff that's a little bit easier. Every now and then I'm going to give myself a slightly harder book to read, like a classic book, something written in older, not quite like super old language, but just like older language, you know, like the 1920s, they spoke a little differently. You know what I mean? 1930s, 1940s, just the way that they worded things, sentences, all that kind of stuff, it was just a little different. So you have to use a little bit more of your brain if you're not used to reading that kind of stuff, I think, personally, to read it and understand what's happening. So basically, yes, I'm gonna start reading Rebecca next, I think, but it's gonna take me a while to get through it. So I might read other books in between. Anyways, I'm rambling now, but this book was really good. Yeah. So obviously, if I'm ranking them right now, I really liked Crimson Moth the best. Crimson Moth is number 1. Night World, funny enough, is number 2. This book was so enjoyable, so engaging, so interesting. I love the romance. I love the relationship also between the brother and the vampire and how that grows or doesn't grow, how like all of the fights that they have or they don't have, just everything. There's like a plot twist right at the end and I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. I'm so excited to read more. So yeah, Crimson Moth, Night World, A House with Good Bones is number 3. Night of the Mannequins, number 4. You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, number whatever. And then episode 13 was my least favorite one this month. Anyways, that's it for my little book rant. Those are all the books that I read. I don't really know how I'm supposed to be talking about these things, so I'm just talking the way that I do without spoiling things, because I could go on and on if I could spoil things, but because I can't spoil things, it's hard for me to talk about them, because I'm like, yeah, that was a good book, the end. Or like, no, I hated that book, the end. Anyways, if you stayed and you hung out, thank you guys so much for joining. If you want to see my gameplay stuff, because I have a gameplay channel, if you found this channel first, which I doubt it, but if you did, I also have a gameplay channel where I play like horror games, cozy games, just whatever really. I'm going through currently I'm going through Resident Evil 9. Woohoo! I'm gonna have some fun, exciting things coming up eventually. Maybe some older games from when I was a child in the 90s and the 2000s. Anyways, yeah. Check out that channel if you want. It's the same channel name, basically. This one is Cozy Witch Mushra, though. The other one is Coffee Witch Mushra. So, check that out if you want to. If not, whatever. Thank you so much for staying till the end of this video. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the future. Bye!